I can't see you. I have the cover screen on mine. Okay, I can see you, but I can't hear you. It doesn't like us. It shows that I'm unmuted. Still can't hear you. I'll leave and I'll come back. I still can't hear you. Yeah, it's silent. Hmm. Yeah, no, I can't hear anything. Okay, go ahead and bring Linda on. Can you hear me, Linda?
Hear you? Yep. Can you
All
hear
right,
me?
I can hear Linda now.
I could not hear her at all. I
Yeah.
could hear you, but not her.
Okay. she wants me to carry on the show. So here's our guest. Um, so um, tell us about yourself. Like, what got you into the paranormal? Like all the.
So, what got me into the paranormal? It started when I was a little girl. I lived in Claypool, Indiana. Lived like right next to the cemetery. So, um, I always was like fascinated with the cemetery. Don't know why. And what I thought was an imaginary friend at the time
Mm-hmm.
turns out it was not an imaginary friend. Her name was Marie, and I got my very first attachment at like 6.
Oh wow, early
I
on, early
thought it
on.
was Yeah, I was 6 years old when I lived in the trailer park, and what I thought was an imaginary friend was not an imaginary friend. Um, and I always could like tell people when they were different than like living to dead,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
their energies. I always thought I was weird and everything, and until I got older, and then my mom found the TV show Ghost Hunters.
Okay. Yep.
And I started watching that and realized, hey, I'm not weird. I'm not a freak, as people would call me.
Right.
And
Yep. I got the
uh,
same thing. So I started seeing and hearing things when I was 4. So I.
so I looked up to Jason Hawes. He was my role model.
Mm-hmm.
And started researching more and more into the paranormal, and it kept going and going and going. And so by the time I was 13, I realized that that was something I wanted to do with my life, was to continue doing things with the paranormal or supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 13, me and my cousin sat down at my table, kitchen table, and started looking up haunted locations. And that's when I found my true calling, was the history and everything.
We
So
can hear you now, Clarissa.
I got my gaming headset on.
Yeah. I.
yes,
Yeah. Yep.
Claypool. I
Yay.
just moved back to Claypool for the second time in my life. I ended up moving back to Claypool for almost 7 years. For almost 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just moved out of Claypool, so something's calling me back there time and time again. Don't know
Mm-hmm.
what.
So you call yourself the paranormal historian? Like, I like that because a lot of people don't do the history on the locations. They're just there for the spooky factor, and I like the fact that you go in and want to know the history.
Yes, I will sit at my computer desk and I will dig into the history from the time it was being built to the time that it closed, and then go on to like the hauntings and the folklores and the passed down stories and everything. So I love the history of the locations.
Cool, cool.
So, Emil, you kind of missed the introduction. Long story short, Linda is part of the paranormal field. I've known her for a couple of years. She does historical research on most of the haunted locations around the area. So she has lots of stories and lots of things to share with us in regards to that and her personal experience. So, summarize it.
Yep.
By the way, good evening, everyone. Sorry had no volume at the beginning of the show. I got the gaming headset on. We'll go with that for this show and see how it goes.
Yep. We will make do.
She's located out of northern Indiana. I don't know if you said specifically where.
She did.
Warsaw.
Warsaw, Indiana. Okay. All right. Go ahead with questions. I'm here.
So, how many different locations have you done like historical research on here in the U.S.?
Over 300.
Oh wow. Do you have a favorite location that you've done research on?
Yes. So the very first location that I ever came across was Waverly Hills Sanatorium. That is my all-time favorite location. I've never been there. It's a goal. It's on the bucket list. Um, but that was the very first location that I ever came across when I was looking up locations. So,
Okay.
and it stuck with me.
Yep. You said Waverly Hills? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We really.
Yep. Waverly Hills is fun. I've been there. I think I've been there 3 times now. Yeah, it's definitely worth the trip down.
Now, Linda,
Yeah.
I've been meaning to.
if you run
Yeah.
out of any locations, I have over 200 locations listed on my website. If you need another location to investigate or to research, okay?
I'm actually starting to expand across the pond.
Good,
Oh, very cool.
awesome.
So, what's your favorite location that you've actually visited?
So my favorite location that I've actually visited is here in my hometown, which is the old Kosciuszko County Jail Museum.
I approve.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. I was there with you once. It was a fun evening. I heard some crazy stuff that I still can't explain to this day.
Yeah, have
I
you
love
done anything
it.
interesting there? For your personal,
I
what's your experience there? Because I've had
so
experiences there.
I've had a lot of experiences there. I go there quite a bit. I'm actually going back on the 26th of this month. So it's kind of like a home away from home type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Up in the women's side of the jail portion, that one went off the tongue. There is a cell that I will go up and sit in. Bradley, you've seen me do it.
Mm-hmm.
I will sit in the middle of the cell and I will interact with. I want to say his name is Joseph. That's what I've gotten each time that I go in when interact with Joseph, and I'll sit there and on command I can get him to play with my REM pod.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Um, I do get let know when it's time for me to leave. I'm guessing by his mother.
Mm.
Mm.
I start to feel. I've had scratches along my shoulder, and I have pictures to prove this. I think it was when it was me, Sky, and Brad, and my daughter. I
Mm.
had scratches along my shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and each time I go, I am able to sit up there a little bit longer. I have a vendetta against the mannequin. I'm not gonna lie. Me and this mannequin.
Yeah, mannequins at haunted locations are not cool.
No.
Well, see, and I showed Brad and Sky this mannequin. This mannequin's in the sheriff's uniform. It's down in the bullpen, and his head will move and his hat will move. You can
Ah.
go walk away and come back an hour later, and it would be. And I proved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked and I showed Brad and Sky. It's not easy to move. Jumping down, up and down around it. There's no breezes around it or nothing. And I still, to this day, cannot catch it. But I did get told that on one of my lives, I caught it moving. And I cannot, for the life of me, figure out which live it was.
Mm.
Oh,
Hmm.
dang, that would be nice to have.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be
I
neat to leave a
know.
camera on it for the entire
I
night.
have.
Oh.
I
Hmm.
have. And it won't move.
Like it knows it's on camera.
Yeah, but as soon as I take that camera away and walk away, it moves.
Hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. Have you done any spirit box or EVPs there? Because I know Kosciuszko County's oh, Phil Gibson gets a lot of those there. So have you had any of that type of activity?
Hmm. Yep. I don't really do as much EVP work as a lot of other people. Um, I do more spirit box, and yes, I've gotten quite a bit of spirit box activity. My TikTok when I went onto TikTok live one day with my daughter, I caught some words.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, the one time I've been to the jail, I heard like distinct disembodied voices of a man saying that he had to go to the bathroom, and I know it wasn't a human because I was the only male in the entire
Yeah,
building.
you're the only male.
And it
Yep.
was distinct, like I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, I thought I was the only guy here. So, but yeah, that it was clear as day.
So if I ever book Waverly, I'll definitely have to send you an invite, Linda,
Definitely,
so
yes.
that you can experience that. I went in 2017 with it was a public, but it wasn't overcrowded, so I actually had a wonderful experience, I will say. So definitely, you don't have to technically shy away from those public ones. It just really depends on if it's a busy season or not.
I've
So
never
I
been
know,
to a public there. Mine have all been private.
yeah. I mean, if you can get private, obviously you want that, but
I honestly would just want to like. I would rather do a private. I mean, because I was asked that question if I was to book it, if it would be a public or if it would be a private, and I said it would be a private, even though I've never been there. I have done the history and everything from the ground up, and honestly, when I do my history and research of the locations before I do haunted memoirs, I will
yeah.
go back through and make sure I didn't miss anything. And I feel like, to me, I've felt like I've been there from all the history and
Oh,
everything that I've.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. The one thing I don't like about the location is it's too big for the amount of time you get. Like it feels like you're always just constantly running. Like you have to keep moving because you can't really just like sit in one location for very long because you're going to miss other parts of the building. That's the one
Yeah.
thing about Waverly I don't like.
I feel like it's most locations though. Even with like the
Mm,
jail. I mean, we do get a good amount of time, but with it being as big as, I mean, it's not huge,
hmm.
but it's still, you get told about one area having all this activity, and then all of a sudden you're missing other parts of,
Right.
like,
Yeah, I
the
can see
building.
that, but Waverly just like extends that to a degree that there's like some floors you won't even see because it's so big.
Right.
Yeah, and
It
for public, they do time you on each level.
Hmm.
So you get like an hour on each level.
That's not enough time for
To
Waverly. I can already tell you that that place is huge.
to answer your question, Dennis, we're only live on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so we talked about Waverly. We talked about Kosciuszko County Jail. So Waverly's probably, I don't know if Brad asked this because, of course, I was trying to fix my headset. But what is on your bucket list? Is it just Waverly, or do you have several
I have a
locations?
I have several different locations. So I do have I have a top five.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear the top five.
So Waverly Hills is number one. The Winchester
Hmm.
Mystery House is number two.
Ooh,
Okay.
same.
Um, the Lizzie Borden House.
Nice.
I have it's called the Sally House, which is not a known location to very many.
Oh, in Kansas. Yep.
Oh, you've heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have a book on it.
Oh, cool.
Then I want to go to. I have been right next door to it, but didn't realize it was a haunted location. The Brookdale Lodge in California.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's very cool. Those all sound like awesome places. None I've been to except for Waverly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been to any of the other ones besides Waverly.
Do you have any locations booked this year that you're going to that you can
I'm
share?
going to Kate County Jail, but I haven't booked anything else between going through and getting my whole life put back in together.
Yep.
um,
Life happens.
so I've only got the Kate County Jail booked. Other than that, nothing else is booked right now.
Okay.
But it's still the beginning of the year, so you never know.
Right. The locations always kind of just pop up like, hey, we have an opening, let's go. So I totally get that.
For sure.
I was wanting to go to the Stone Mansion, but unfortunately, they've had some pretty good issues the last couple months.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, me neither.
They just
I
had, was it the Stone Mansion? I
know
can't
they
remember.
had to redo their roof.
Hey, Sky.
One of the locations that I follow on Facebook just had a fire that started in the kitchen, and I want to say it was a stone mansion.
Hmm.
Oh, I
I have
feel
not
like
seen that.
one of the locations did have a fire recently, but I can't think
Started
of
in,
who it is.
I
Hmm.
know, right? It
Yeah.
just slipped my mind.
Man, I can't remember who that was. I feel like I was like, oh man, that sucks.
I know. I was like, because I was wanting to book that location. I want to say it was a stone mansion, and
Hmm.
then they said they weren't
Oh,
doing any.
yep. ISS did just have a fire. That
Okay,
is,
yes, it was ISS, I think.
yeah. ISS had a fire, and my first thought was knowing how dilapidated that place is. No offense, everybody loves ISS. It's dilapidated. I thought, oh my God, they're going to shut them down.
Nah.
But maybe not. I don't know. Maybe the county doesn't care. So that's just my opinion. Everybody can hate me for that. I don't care. Yeah, it was ISS. That's right.
So ISS, like if you go and look up the Indiana State Hospital, you'll get two
Mhm.
different locations.
Hmm.
One
Yeah.
in Indiana, which is also a college campus now, which they still use to this day some of the old
Yep.
hospital
Yep.
buildings,
Central State.
farms, and then you
Central State
also have
Mental Hospital. Yep, on the west side of Indy.
yep, and then you have the ISS we all know that had the fire. But not very many people knew about that though. Didn't know that there was two different state hospitals in Indiana.
Hmm. Yeah, I've been to both. Central State wasn't legal, but I still got to visit it once
He broke in.
before they tore most of it down. But yes, the admin building is still used as apartments, and you can still take tours of the Medical History Museum and the Pathology Building. The chapel's still there, the laundry's still there, and the power plant's still standing. But you can't get into anything but the Medical History Museum and the Pathology Building.
Another area, Linda, if you're wanting to research more history, just an idea is Irvington, the area in Indianapolis is very historical. Brad's near there, that area, so he's told me a lot about it, and that might be something you're interested in. There might be some buildings there that you might find fascinating.
So I have a book on it.
Oh, do you?
Um,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
yep, a friend of mine that I met at the Hannah House, my very first event, which was the Paranormal Day celebration. We had bought cups off of her because she was right next to us, and we've come close over the years.
Mm-hmm.
She helped with the tours,
Oh,
and
Okay,
that
in
cool.
Irvington? Okay.
for dinner one night, she took me on it, and she took me on like part of what the tour was, and I forget whose house it was, but there is a house in Irvington that
Mm-hmm.
a known serial killer was, and there was
Oh,
a body found on.
The H Holmes house.
Thank you
Yep,
for that.
on Julian Street. Yep.
So I do have a book on it. Yep.
So he lived there?
Yeah, he lived there after the murder castle for a few months before he fled to New York. His final victim was actually found in the chimney of that house.
Yes, the chimney, not the yard. Sorry, I knew it
Interesting.
was on the property.
Yep, yep. Well, they ended up finding that kid's bones in the yard too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they found part of him in the chimney, and then they also found part of him buried in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So she gave me a book of the history and stuff on for it. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's
collection
lots of
starting
cool houses with lots of neat history in the Irvington area.
Hey, puppy. What's your pup's name?
Cassie.
Cassie. Hi, Cassie. I love dogs. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Want to pet it through the camera. Adorable. Um, so have you, I guess since we're talking about areas to investigate or research and all that, Have you thought about hitting up some of the more haunted cities like Salem, like Gettysburg, anything like
Mhm.
that, and doing the research
Yep.
in there too?
Yes, I had actually just did a episode on haunted memoirs. Two different locations down. One's in Gettysburg, and one is in Salem, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Actually, there's two different houses that were um part of the Salem witch trials and stuff that are built on the same land,
Okay.
Massachusetts. So the Joshua Ward House and the Co- Conrad, something other, something pronounced that way. He was a sheriff, and he's the one that started the Salem witch trials.
Mm.
Oh,
And
really?
the Joshua Ward House was built at the footprint of his land, and it is said to this day that those two are still roaming the land, and the Cod Codred, however you want to pronounce his last name, Sheriff Conrad is said to still be up on the hill where his house was.
Mm.
So, and then the Molly Brown house down in Gettysburg, a stray bullet shot through the door and killed her.
Oh,
Mm.
yep. Uh, Gettysburg is got a ton of locations because I had
Yes.
visited there. Um, Interesting thing about Gettysburg, and this might be something worth researching if you want to go beyond just the history, but when you find these historical locations or whatever, one big strong feeling I had when I was in Gettysburg was I kept coming across spirits that gave me the idea that they had committed suicide or attempted it or something like that. Well, I come to find out we did research after that trip, and Gettysburg has one of the highest suicide rates in that state.
Hmm. That's craziness.
So something to look in. I bet these paranormal communities, so to speak, have a big impact on mental health, which makes sense to most of us. But I'm just curious if when you're doing your research, if you start finding a correlation there, because that was something that I had not seen. So yeah, it's got a pretty bad rate there.
So, like the Molly Brown house, there is two different there is apartments. So there was two different houses connected, as we would call apartments. Thank you, Asa. Um, she was making bread. They were waiting for like her and her sister were waiting for their husbands to come home,
Yeah.
and they were making bread and stuff to make sandwiches for the soldiers when a stray bullet went through. So
Hmm.
It's wild. Now I wonder if the Molly Brown. I could not remember if Molly Brown. Yeah, Emil mentioned it. Jenny Wade and Molly Brown. If
those
they
are two different
are,
places, two
yeah,
different houses, two different locations
right.
on
When
them
when
both.
if you ever look into Jenny Wade, when I was there, they had mentioned something about stray bullets at other locations, other houses. So I wonder if Molly Brown is related to Jenny Wade in some way or not. I can't remember which house it is, but I swear there's like a relative of Jenny Wade that actually passed away the same way from a
Give me one
stray
second.
bullet. So I can't remember if it's Molly Brown. I can't because it's been what 2 years since I've been
Mm-hmm.
to Gettysburg. Um, but yeah,
Give me
and
1 second.
then
I'll be able to tell you.
for those of you watching, I stayed at the Tilly Pierce Inn. That's also known to be haunted. So if that's something you all want to check out, look into Tilly Pierce also.
All right. So the Jenny Wade house.
Oh, she got the papers out.
It's the two-story modest brick structure. Um,
That's right,
her real
Emil.
name was Mary Virginia Wade, though. So she was. It's on Baltimore Street, and she was born and raised in Gettysburg. So her real name is Mary. So Jenny Wade and Molly Brown are two different locations. But the
Okay.
Jenny Wade house also had stray bullets go through the house
Right.
and kill Jenny Wade on impact also.
Oh, there we
My
go.
my camera is like, yeah.
We're talking spooky. Things getting crazy. Yeah, you would actually quite enjoy visiting a location like that that's got a lot of history because they'll tell you all the history. You know,
Mhm.
they'll tell you all the stories and everything. You know, Gettysburg's a tourist place, so it's a haunted tourist place, I should say. Oh, did she freeze up?
No, I'm reading. Sorry.
Okay, you're good. You're good. You're like so zoned. I'm like, is she frozen or what's going on here?
So
I mean, I could see there being an infinite amount of research that you could do. Like there is just so many locations you could look into and research for sure.
I have a list of last time I checked, and I've done the history in over 300 locations. Yes, but I have a notebook that has over 5,000 locations.
Well, then
Wowzer.
you're not
Long.
short of content
No.
for sure.
So you
For
mentioned that
sure.
you did episodes for your show. Can you tell us about your show and where it airs and what times?
So I have a show called Haunted Memoirs. It airs at 8:30 p.m. on Things Network here on Facebook, and then also I have my phone set up so it airs at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also on TikTok on Saturday nights. Haunted Memoirs. Sky helped me come up with the name, and she also helped come up with the background for it. I fell in love with it when I first saw it, and then Clarissa helped come up with my parahistorian logo.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice.
Haunted Memoirs is I usually I it's an hour long episodes on Saturday nights. I go through and I will pick out two different locations, but I'm always open to suggestions, and or if someone wants to know more about a location, they can hit me up and let me know. Hey, it's either by commenting on the videos or private message, and I will go through and I will do two locations along with any updates I have,
Very
telling about
cool.
the history and sharing my love of the history and everything for the locations. And I usually have a picture of each location up so that way people can
Hmm.
see the legend.
Very neat.
So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
One location I think should be added is the Geyer Opera House. If you've not looked into it, that's not a very famous one. I would love to know more on it. Huh?
It's on my list to look into.
Yeah.
So I have like five different lists that I
Hmm.
have.
Hmm.
Um, and so I've made a list of locations that I want to do when I come back from across the pond. So
Yeah.
I'm starting to do across the pond research, and then when I come back to the U.S.,
Mm.
then I'll start with that list.
Awesome. Thanks for letting us know, Emil. That's cool. I didn't know Jeff was going to go to that Paracon.
Yeah, yeah. He told me when we got there that night.
Speaking of Paracons, Linda, do you have any conventions coming up?
I do.
Yay.
So I will be attending the paranormal festival down at the Hannah House in August,
Okay.
and then I am excited that we also have Para Unity coming up in October of this year. So, and
Yep.
I'm
Let's
And
hear
excited.
more about Paraunity.
yes, tell us tell the audience more about Paraunity, what it is,
I am this year's host for Para Unity, and I'm super honored and excited to be that, be chosen to be the host. We have a lot of things in store, so um, I just really lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
New and fresh start for Unity this year. We have a lot of new, fresh ideas coming to the table. This year, not only will the committee members for Unity have their own badges, which will have our names on them, so you can identify us better if you have any issues. Come to one of us. And then the vendors will also have their own badges, so that they're more than welcome to take them home and do as they please. I know near my booth this year, we will have a little game area set up for little ones to play and win prizes. So a lot of awesome things. We have costume contests, booth decorating contests. Para Unity is October 25th of this year.
And
And
that's going to be in Peru again?
Peru, Indiana at the Miami County Fairgrounds, and we are open at registration is open, and we are still looking for vendors. I still have a lot of space left. So
Unveil will be there. I'll be there. I don't know Brad will be there, but
I am planning on coming up.
yeah.
all right, I'm going to use you for traffic control again.
He's really
Just
good he's a great volunteer. He really
I
is.
I'm actually planning on coming up in my new Halloween costume that I just got too, so I'm super excited about that.
So, yep, I'm super excited for this year. I can't wait. And you can find we do have a Facebook page. You can sign up through the Facebook page. We do have an events page that I made up. So, if you do register with us, I would like for you to follow that event page, because that's where all the updates for everything is going to be. And if you have any questions, you can just shoot it right there, and one of us will get back with you as soon as possible. Or you can email us at indianaparunity@gmail.com.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, Emil, you need to make the trip over. It's fun. It's a fun day of coming and being part of the Para Unity experience.
Yes, I
For
was
sure.
added. Yep, so am I. I'm looking into booking some more locations, but I'm super stoked for Para Unity. I have a few more ideas that I'm going to run by the committee members this year. I'm just still working out the details in my own brain. Um, but the one thing that I'm more excited about is us having a spot for little ones to go play games. Like, I have a ring toss game. I have a little kid friendly, like the little balls that you throw at like the dartboard.
Yeah.
I have a light up bowling game
That's
for the
fun.
little ones to play, and the costume contest. Um, Everybody's gonna get something out of the costume contest for the kids, and I have like little drawing pads for them, and so
Very cool.
Yeah. One thing I've always loved about the Unity event, other than it being full of local paranormal people and people that you've always wanted to meet that you just never come across, always the vendor list is always great. Is that it's always been family friendly, and which the community of Peru seems to really appreciate because they love to bring their families out to it. So
Hmm.
it is family friendly, and I love it too. And I had my girls there last year with me, and they loved it. And they, bugging me, Mom, how much longer is Para Unity? How much longer? How much longer? And I'm like, you got a couple months still.
October
It's
25th,
always,
Stephen.
yeah, October 25th, and it's always on a Saturday. So, yep. And so,
Puppy.
yep, yep. She's all up like, Mom, what in the world are you doing?
Well, there was a lot of controversy around the Hannah House when they changed who runs the um, like it's Paracon. I don't know what they call it now. down there. So you're not the only one. You're not alone on that one. I don't know. Linda, you were there and you said they did really well though, even though they changed all
Oh
that.
gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So, while yes, the Hannah House is starting to charge for, vendor spots, which Para Unity, which before we get on to that subject, Para
Hmm.
Unity, it is $25 for a 10 by 10 space and $5 for extra if you need an extra table if you don't bring your own.
Yeah.
We do provide tables and chairs.
Okay.
So, while the Hannah House does charge, but when they started charging, yes, I know it upset a lot of people. But
Hmm.
also, you got to think about it though. Some of these bigger events, these Paracons, charge for their booths.
Mm-hmm.
Charge
Perry.
hundreds of dollars.
So, um, now admission and parking, I don't care either way because the Hannah House to me I hold it. It's a special spot in my heart. My mom was supposed to go with me before she passed away, and she passed away before we could go
Right.
together.
Mm-hmm.
And I promised her no matter what I would go.
No.
So I go every year, and the lawn was full last year,
Good.
and from
Good.
from the looks of it, it's going to be a big hit again this year.
That's good.
Um, it is uh August 10th is
Okay.
when it's going to be.
Okay.
I will be there and I will go every year. I do not care if I have to pay, because obviously I paid for Para Unity, which ours is free admission and free parking, obviously, but I could care less either way because these bigger Paracons they charge.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking into a paranormal event down, I forget where it was at, but it's no longer going to happen because they didn't have like I guess the venue didn't want it to happen because it was paranormal people.
Ah, gotcha.
That's al-
Everything is
that's always
paranormal,
that's not great when a location does.
and they were charging $50 a spot for a 10 by 10 spot, plus a $25 entry fee, but that got you parking. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
DeadCon was several hundreds. I remember that one because that was pretty local. I mean, that one was a flop, DeadCon in Fort Wayne, but
Yep. Yep. That one never even happened, did it? Oh, no, no, it happened. They
it
just never
did.
paid anybody.
It did. But yeah, there was issues with people getting paid, celebrities getting paid to that one.
Right.
So that one was unfortunate that it didn't work out. But yeah, so Paracons can be great and they can have their
Moments, or they're not.
moments.
right,
For
right.
sure. For
I think that's
sure.
everybody though, but
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, public events the same way when people host those. I mean, locations can have their flaws, especially for picky ass customers like me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is like, "Yay, haunted, spooky," and I'm just like,
Does it have bats?
"Does it have a bat? Does it have bathrooms? Does it have heat?" I am the worst. I'm sorry to all the locations that
I'm
had
gonna
to
put
deal
you
with
back
me.
in the church.
Put me back in church.
I'm gonna put you back in the church
Which church, or do I just need church in general?
at Perry Unity. You're gonna be in the same exact spot that you were last year,
Okay, well, I'm fine with that. So that doesn't
and I
bother me at
mean
all.
your layouts.
Oh, yes,
You know,
awesome.
it's funny because when when they had asked me if I would be host this year for Perry Unity, I said yes.
Hmm.
Now I'm like gonna sit here and say I'm like tech savvy, but I am tech savvy.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
everybody was like freaking out because they're like, you know, what about the layouts? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, wait 1 second, pulled up, my messenger, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, wait a minute. And I pulled up Hair Unity's chats and I found from when you were hosting, Clarissa,
Hmm.
and you had sent blank layouts.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, you're talking about these layouts? You're like, where'd you get those at? I said, from previous chats.
Yeah.
Right, right. Makes things
I
way
don't
easier when you save things.
Yep.
Well,
That,
that's the funny thing though. I didn't have it saved on my computer or my phone. I just went and searched Peer Unity up in my chat, my search bar in my chat, and
right.
it popped up all of the past chats that I was in for Peer Unity, and I found your old list that you sent for vendors. I found the layouts and stuff and everything. So
Yep. Yep. That's a real smart move because, I mean, why not build off of all the past years, instead of some things can be revamped and refreshed, but also you could build off some things. If it worked once, it might work again. So,
Mm,
I'm
for
trying to
sure.
revamp it here. I'm super excited. Um, I have a vision of how I'm going to do the tables for
Hmm.
when we do set up for when vendors come in. Um, so I also like with the vendor badges. Planning on two per table because most of the time there's two people for each booth.
Yeah.
hmm
But if we need more than that, I would need to know so that way I can get the correct amount of vendor badges. So
Right.
and then this year, instead of just having a piece of paper with your paranormal team or whatever, like the vendor name, just
hmm
written on a piece, I'm going to write them in different colored chalk on chalkboard
Oh, very
things.
cool.
Make it a little classier than our slapping our printer paper down on the table.
Right.
A lot of ink. If you
It
think
is a
about it,
lot. It is.
full building plus outside, that's a lot of ink.
Yes.
No matter if you put how many you put on and everything. And so I'm just trying to like fresh ideas, revamping it a little bit, bringing some fresh new things to the table and stuff. And so the one thing that I was most excited about was the kiddie area for the gaming.
Yep.
That sounds like a great thing because it is a long day. So if there are kids that come, they do need like activities to keep them engaged. So I really think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Okay.
My kids said that they want to run them. So
Oh.
they want to
Nice.
come, and my girls did an awesome job with my ball toss game that I had set up last year. So I said, okay, why not? Let
Yeah.
my 13-year-old go with this year, and so if I'm away, he can help keep an eye on things and stuff like that. So I plan on trying to fit as many games as I can in a 10 by 10 space. So I'm going to buy another booth space and put it right next to mine, so that way we can keep an area, keep an eye on it, and that's way it's next to a committee member's booth.
Yes.
Emil, you could probably sell some baked
You
goods.
could make a killing on baked goods. They do have
Oh
food
yeah,
vendors. It's not just paranormal teams. It's not just there are vendors who sell things. So yes, you could make a killing on your baked goods, and
yes.
Yeah.
I can vouch for his baking abilities.
Oh
I have
So
shit.
I have had his Buckeyes and his cookies, and yes, he should
we
totally
have
do
a
that.
couple of different. We have Rex's Tasty Chips coming back this year. The
Okay.
little, they're coming back. So we have a lot of different vendors coming to Para Unity. And that's every year, not just not just paranormal groups.
Mhm.
It's you know we have a bunch of we have mom and pop's creations or grandma and grandpa's creations or something like that where they do the wood burnings and stuff like that. So we do have a lot, but the baked goods, I remember last year at Peer Unity, we had a girl there that was selling different types of spooky baked goods, and she was completely sold out of pretty much everything by the time Peer Unity ended.
Mhm.
And she brought over $5,000 worth of product.
Nice. That's a good day.
Yeah.
I will buy Emil's entire table.
Yes, yes, for the rest. For the rest. But yeah, and I encourage people, to if you're wanting to getting started into the paranormal, I encourage to go find a local convention, paracon, whatever
hmm
that's dealing with paranormal or has a paranormal groups. go there and look and talk to the different teams and the different people, because we all have our different ways of investigating. We all have different pieces of equipment that we use. So, but so yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
with
great for networking too. Just meet new, like you said, meet new teams, learn from others. So yeah, I definitely think it's a great event.
And so, one thing that I will have at my booth is I'm going to take like my most pieces of equipment that I would use in an investigation. But what I have not seen in all my year, like the last 7 years of me attending any conventions, Pair Unity, the Hannah House events, is I've never seen a team or a vendor or somebody have like the information sheets
Mm,
about
each
the
piece of
pieces of
equipment.
equipment.
That's pretty
And
cool.
so I do that. I'll have like the piece of equipment sitting right there, and people can read the
Hmm.
information sheets about like, how they work, what they're used for, and all that good jazz.
Yeah, it's a great place to like Brad said to network, but it's also a great place for people who aren't familiar with paranormal or aren't familiar with locations. If they want to get into the field. Now, not a lot of teams open up like spots on their team, or nobody does that anymore usually. It used to be that way where people be like, "Oh, you can join my team." Nobody really does that anymore as much, but until Unveil does it. Eventually, Brad, I'll make it a team.
Yay!
I keep telling him I'm thinking I should do a team, but
Oh
um,
no, I don't know. You don't want to do that, Clarissa. Come on now. We both know how well that works out.
I've been on one team, two team. Why do I feel like it's two teams? I feel like I've been on two teams.
I don't know if
I
I
have
know.
been on two teams. Okay, yeah.
I honestly can say I am so done with joining teams. I am a lone wolf now, guys. No more.
Yeah.
It makes
Some
it
people,
easier if you want to join, like hang out with other teams, though, being a lone
yeah.
wolf or whatever. So you don't actually have to try to get. One of my friends said getting ghost hunters to commit is like herding cats, and it's
Oh,
true. You can't control them; they're never responsive. It's true. So being a lone wolf is the easy way to do it. So
it's really hard. Like the teams I've been a part of, they like one team like hardly ever had meetings or anything going on. Other team was very specific. We have a meeting every month. After that's an investigation, and I liked that. I mean, a lot of people don't like it because it doesn't work for their schedule, but I liked knowing that every month I had an investigation coming up. So it just really just depends on who you are. I mean, once that person that I in that group I was in became controlling and obnoxious, I was out. But it was great to know that I had a hunt coming up every month. And I guess I
mm,
don't need a team for that. You can have friends for that, but sometimes even that's hard to get everybody to be able to have the same schedule where they can all show up. So
like herding cats.
yes, like
Me.
herding. Oh, you said herding, like
Yeah,
Herding.
yeah,
I
like
thought you said
making them. No, no,
hurting.
no. Herding, like
Okay,
forcing
like
them in one
cows.
direction. Yes.
Yeah,
Given everything,
yeah.
I would rather be a lone wolf, and I'm happy and content with staying at home with my babies, sitting
Hmm.
at my computer desk, looking up stuff and doing research, and be if I
Hmm.
get invited onto a investigation with a team, awesome. But I'm also open to, if a team or a person needs, like, hey, I'm having troubles looking up this location. Can you try to look it up for me? Or do you have information on this location? I'm open to that. I'm not going to keep all that. I'm here for teams and people to be like, okay, look, I know one person I can go to that might have this information,
Hmm.
or they would like to know the history, to be like, hey, can you send over what you found, type thing.
Yeah.
And
Collaborating when you
Yep.
yeah,
can.
Collaborating
Yeah.
and being used as a
and
resource is a good thing.
also being, a lone wolf and being by yourself and not being a part of a team. If you're collabing with somebody else, you don't have to try worrying about is your team going to get upset for you going and being with these people and not with them,
Yeah.
or you're going to be like,
Hmm.
hey, make sure you throw our name out there type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm,
That's
you know,
good.
out of the years that I've been part of teams, and now given now I'm a lone wolf type, I'm happy and I'm content with being by myself.
Yeah, it
That
works.
way I have freedom to do, because I don't want to be worried, is my team going to get upset because I'm not choosing to go on an investigation and because I want to do haunted memoirs, which I
Right.
put on the back burner for years and years and years.
Hmm.
Or they're going to get upset because I'm not wearing my team shirt.
Right, right.
Yeah.
They're not
Little stuff.
sporting it. They're not sporting
Instead,
the team.
about
Lost friends and team members for going to the Conjuring. Yep. There's a lot of jealousy. Sometimes even I see my friends go on hunts and I'm like, oh, I didn't get an invite. I mean, sometimes it's out of their control. Brad will get invited from something, and Brad does the right thing. He says, okay, I'm going to go. But Brad doesn't be like, oh, that means I'll bring all my friends, right? So Brad
Right.
actually does the right thing and
Hmm.
doesn't just decide that he can bring whoever he wants because he got an invite from a different team.
Right. Yeah.
So,
If
but
I
I
do,
do,
but if I book a location, I try to invite all my friends and as many as I can. So.
but every time I see Brad do a
right.
hunt without me, I'm like, that bastard.
I mean, if I'm friends with you, I'm friends with Brad, and I have
Mhm.
a lot of, I follow a lot of my friends on Facebook, and it's like I see
Yeah.
that, and it's like, oh, damn, I wish I could go, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
honestly, it's like I don't get jealous, I don't get butthurt. It's like well, damn, I really want to get to that location, but one of these days
Yeah.
I will get to that location.
Yeah.
But also at the same sense is my kids come before anything paranormal
Right.
related.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
My whole life comes before it. So
Yeah.
if my kids need something, I'm rebooking my 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 dates. I'm redoing
Right.
this. I'm redoing that. But so it's like I know one of these days I'll get to a location,
Yeah.
or I'll
Mhm.
get like, you know. I don't get mad if I don't get invited to things. It's like, okay, you know what? Because at the end of the day, like I said, I'd rather be sitting behind my computer at my computer desk at home with my children. Then I know I can't get myself in trouble. Then I
Yeah.
know
Mhm.
get me in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's like if they really wanted me to come, they know how to reach out to me.
Right.
Right.
But we all have our own lives. We all have our own teams, or we all, we
Right.
all. It's like, why get butthurt when somebody else is going to go do something when it's stupid to me. I cannot stand it when somebody's like, oh, I get so mad and like email said, lose team members and friends over something like that. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Why? I will never get it.
Mhm.
I never will get it. But it's like, you see those locations, you see these places, so
Right.
why can't you try to book it yourself?
Mhm.
I mean, it's a thought, right? Yeah,
It
for
is.
sure, for sure. Well, Linda, we're going to wrap up the show since we're a little bit over, but we started a little bit late thanks to technical difficulties. Is there anything that you want to share with our audience? Anything you want to tell them about? Any advice for those in the field? Anything like along those lines?
So, any advice I would give, just before you join a team, before you start, go out to, like I said, to like Peer Unity, to the Hand House events, and or find a convention closest to you and go and talk to different teams and stuff, and then also see how much the equipment costs, because us paranormal investigators, we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment. I know I have over $10,000 wrapped up in equipment, so
Mhm.
just go talk. And then, like we were talking about jealousy and stuff, if one of your team members gets to go on something and you can't do it, don't get mad about it, don't get butthurt about it. try
Hmm.
and get yourself, or be like, hey, get a couple friends, like Carissa said. So let's,
Hmm.
try booking this location, make a public event out of it,
Right.
charge those people. So that's just my advice, after the 7 years of being in this community hardcore.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And as always, where can everybody follow you and include the Unity information so that they know?
So you can follow me here on Facebook, and also on TikTok. And then Para Unity, again, is October 25th. I am this year's host. We are looking for any and all vendors. And you can find us on Facebook there, and or email us at indianaparunity@gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Linda, for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate you. And thank you, everybody in the comments section and watching, for jumping in, saying hello, interacting with us, and just watching this. As always, we will see you all next week with our special guest, Chris Garcia, who's been on the show before. I'm not sure if he's going to be doing readings this time, but we'll find out for you.
Yep, I'll be checking into that.
Yep. And as always, everybody, we hope you enjoyed the show and show us some love by subscribing, sharing, comment, or not comment. You can comment afterwards. I'll see it. Like it, and hit that notification. And we'll see you all next
Yep.
week.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.